time.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for this time, and I will not consume much time introducing my topic again. So my name is Imna Jamir, and I'll be presenting on the street vendors. Street vendors, as we all know, they are broadly regarded as someone who offers goods or sell their goods at the public place without having a permanent build-up structure. They occupy the space on the pavements, public or private areas, or move from place to place carrying their goods. And it is also regarded as a global phenomenon since it is one of the most visible aspects of the unorganized sector. And they play a very vital role in the urban informal economy by providing employment generation, income opportunities, goods and services to the urban poor and marginal working class. And they all sell different kinds of goods like clothes, food items, vegetables, and home-based products. So this is a definition of street vendors defined by Street Vendors Act 2014, which I will not read out due to less time. So this is the population of street vendors in India, estimated by National Association of Street Vendors in India, NASVI, in 2014. It has been estimated that in India we have around 10 million street vendors, which is also not fixed because since they belong to the informal sector, it keeps changing the number. And they have also done the study on the major cities of India, which the population number has been shown there in the slide. So there are different types of women street vendors, which is static or stationary vendors, then the mobile vendors who keep moving from place to place selling their products, and the weekly market vendors, which is more applicable in the state of Nagaland. Then tribal women street vendors, they undertake vending due to the lack of other sources of income opportunities and employment opportunities in the state, and they solve the problems by utilizing their own resources available. They work over 10 hours under grueling conditions, and they are considered as a problem in the public consider vendors as a problem because of utilizing the public spaces, but they also solve many societal issues. So street vendors in Nagaland, they are women from diverse tribes, and they are socially backward and economically deprived sections of the society. They sell various products ranging from vegetables to meat, fast food, handicrafts, and thrift clothing to urban consumers. They provide food, shelter, healthcare, and support to their children for formal education. And as per research, most of the women are single-handedly managing their families by fully depending only on the street vending activities. And as per Morong Express 2022, it also says that 40% of the women are engaged in vending have never been to school and they are illiterate, which is astonishing as Nagaland's female literacy rate stands at an average of 80%. So as per the news, informal street vendors in the cities around the world experience challenges to different economic livelihoods. This is the scenario of Nagaland. After all the written policies, it hardly reaches to the streets to safeguard the vendors at the times of difficulties, and ultimately they juggle on their own to survive for their livelihood. So this is a rationale of my study. Street vendors play a vital role in the economy because of the lack of production units and corporate sectors and other employment generation activities in the state. This study will support and encourage the women to do better in contributing to the local economic growth and development. So this is the study objectives: to understand the demographic background of the tribal women street vendors in Mokokchung district, and to find out the obstacles faced by tribal women street vendors, and lastly, to trace the opportunities for sustainable livelihood development of tribal women street vendors. And to achieve the objectives that I framed for the study, these are the methodology used. The study is descriptive in nature, and since the respondents are from unorganized sector, I have applied the purposive sampling technique in Mokokchung district, and to collect the data, I have used in-depth interview tool, and for which I have used a structured interview schedule with 40 sample, and I have used frequency analysis and thematic analysis. So this is the study area. So as per the personal profile of the respondents, we can see that 30% of the respondents are aged more than between 45 to 55 years, and 57.5% of the respondents have attained only primary to middle education. Then 60% of the respondents, daily income is between 500 to 2,000, and 65% of the respondents take home profit is under 1,000. And this is a social profile. Since it's in Mokokchung district, 72.5% of the respondents were representing our tribal women, and 90% of the respondents were residing in rural areas. Then 85% of the respondents lived in a nuclear family, then 80% in the own-rented house, and 82.5% of the women were married, and 7.5% were divorced and widowed. Can I take 2 minutes? I prepared for 10 minutes. So these are the obstacles faced by the tribal women street vendors related to the products, perishable products, and then this existential struggle for space, and the safety and security with related to the eviction and discrimination, and public relation with the customers and co-vendors. Then other challenges that they face are the poor road connectivity, transportation issues, long working hours, and financial problems. So the other opportunities that we can trace for the sustainable livelihood development is we can try to converge with the different programs and policies like NASV, National Policy for Urban Street Vendors Protection of Livelihood and Regulation Act 2014, the Nagaland Street Vendors Rules 2019, and PM Swanity 2020. So these are the strategies for enhancing for the livelihood of the street vendors: microfinance and financial inclusion, skill trainings and capacity building, community empowerment and social mobilization, natural resource management, infrastructure development, and advocacy and policy reform. So these are some of the social work interventions for better convergence and awareness with the community. So thank you so much for the time.
I'm very sorry, ma'am. I'm very sorry. Thank you. Can we have paper presenter number two? Number two. And I would like to request to our paper presenter that let's focus on research gap, objectives, methodology, and findings. Let's leave out the conceptual and the theoretical perspective, and at the same time literature review. Let's try to skip that. Instead focus on research gap, objectives, methodology, and findings. Presenter number two, Ms. Carey. The topic is the impact of parenting styles and attachment with emotional intelligence among adolescents.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm so delighted to be part of this conference. My name is Karibwa Liu. I'm a research scholar from psychology, and okay, here is the topic: the impact of. Excuse me. Can you off the video? Sorry for the inconvenience.
You share through WhatsApp.
Remote is not working. It won't work. I've tried before. Here is a presentation outline, background of the study, conceptual framework, statement of the problem, rationale of the study, significance of the study, research questions, operational definition, methodology, literature review, analysis, and conclusion. Okay, here's the background of the study. The formative years of adolescence are critical for emotional development, making the influences of parenting styles and attachment particularly significant. Rani and Soni describe parenting styles as the way in which the adolescents views their parents and the opinions they form about them, starting from childhood through adolescence to adulthood. Attachment refers to the bonding between a parent and a child, which consists of 4 fundamental attachment styles, that is, secure, avoidant, dismissive, anxious or ambivalent, disorganized or fearful avoidant attachment. APA Dictionary of Psychology 2022 define emotional intelligence as the type of intelligence that involves the ability to be able to process emotional information and to make it use in reasoning and various other
Sorry
cognitive
to
activities.
interrupt you. I request you to skip the literature review and the other background. Would you kindly go to research gap, objectives, methodology, and findings?
Okay.
That will do justice for the time allotment.
Okay. This is a systematic review study, so this conceptual framework is very important. Here is the parenting styles, which has an association with the attachment styles, and the attachment style has an influence in emotional intelligence, and parenting style also has an influence on the emotional intelligence. And the overall objective is parenting styles and attachment style, which has an influence or impact on emotional intelligence. Here is a statement of the problem. Rationale of the study. Different parenting styles not only dictate the parenting approach to child rearing, but also play a pivotal role determining the nature of attachment formed between parent and a child. Theoretical frameworks from existing literature provide valuable insights into these relationships. However, they often lack a cohesive integration that can fully reveal the dynamics at play. This study seeks to bridge the gap in literature and provide a comprehensive understanding of how parenting attachment style collectively influence emotional intelligence in adolescence. Here is the significance of the study. The interactions adolescents have with their caregivers is essential and can profoundly shape their emotional landscape. This study is significant not only for its theoretical contributions, but also for its practical implications, as it seeks to understand parenting styles and intervention for counseling children and adolescents. Here is a research question. Is there a relationship between parenting and attachment style? How do parenting styles impact or influence emotional intelligence? How do attachment styles impact or influence emotional intelligence? Do the interaction of parenting styles and attachment styles have an influence in emotional intelligence? Here's the research objectives: to analyze the interaction between different parenting styles, attachment styles, and its impact on the level of emotional intelligence, especially during adolescence period, to analyze theoretical frameworks from the literature to explain how parenting styles and attachment style impacts adolescence. Here is an operational definition: parenting style, attachment style, emotional intelligence in adolescence. Here is a method used for the study. The research design is a systematic review of literature. Procedure: the relevant studies were identified using electronic database. Analysis: the findings from the multiple primary studies were narrative synthesized and reviewed. Here are some of the literature review. Here are the findings. And here is the studies on types of attachment styles and its impact on emotional intelligence. The overall findings, it has revealed that avoiding attachment style predicted negative impact on emotional intelligence. So secure attachment is a significant positive predictor, while insecure attachments are significant negative predictors. Analysis and conclusion. The analysis reveals that the warm parenting style and secure attachment is significant for adolescents to regulate their emotions effectively. To include, the current study indicates that the parenting styles play a crucial role in shaping attachment styles, which in turn influence adolescents' emotional intelligence. Thanks.
Thank you. May I call upon presenter number 3, which please. The topic is Holistic Healing Perspective, Review on Psychology and Christian Counseling Approaches.
Good afternoon to you all. Today, my paper is on the title Holistic Healing Practices, Review on Psychology and Christian Counseling Approaches. So, these are my content. To begin with, let us know what this paper is all about. So, Christians, they are of the view or belief that God is the only healer. So if you follow his ways, he will provide you with mental health and well-being. While psychology states that mind is where our thoughts are, and the body is our physical self, and the soul is our essence. However different the perspectives are, they both talks about how a man can and should find well-being of the mind, body, and spirit. So the goal of this paper is to find out how and where the controversy lies and stands on. So these are the operational definition. Christian counseling says that a person must be consistent with their spiritual life and beliefs. They must keep faith in God. They must follow his teaching, pray, meditate, and present their worries to him. That way, they may achieve a stable mental health and attain well-being. While psychological counseling is where a counselor and client may work together to find peace and healing, as the counselor guides the client to recognize and realize their thoughts, feelings, and behavior. And let's next know what is holistic counseling approach. So holistic therapy addresses the mind, body, and spirit to support health and healing. And these are my research questions. The first one is, what do each approach signify? How do the two approaches contradict? And can psychological and Christian counseling merge or integrate in practice? And this is the method that I used. That is systematic review of literature. I outlined the research questions. I identified the different database. I organized the articles to sub-themes, and I synthesized the review. And the type of information I've searched are mental health and well-being, psychological counseling, and Christian counseling. And my first research question, that is, what do each signify? So, Christian counseling signifies one's commitment to God to gain knowledge about one's mind and behavior, whereas psychological counseling signifies the biological, chemical, psychological, and spiritual components of a person. I'll be skipping these concepts. The interventions and approaches to healing from both the perspectives. So in psychological counseling, a counselor will integrate meditation and mindfulness practices, empowerment and self-reflection, emotional support, enhance communication and relationships. While in the Christian counseling, a counselor will integrate faith-based coping, resilience through faith, love, forgiveness, compassion, and hope, and prayer, meditation on scripture, and biblical reflections. And the effectiveness of its intervention for mental health and well-being. So, according to studies on spiritual intervention, Christian counselors are of the view that through a relationship with God, He will heal and deliver. So, with faith and commitment to His words and teachings, one can attain well-being. So, not by their own capabilities, but through the Holy Spirit that empowers them. While a psychological counselor provides support, says that it provides support and a safe space for individual dealing with illness, promoting resilience and well-being. So my second research question is, how do the two approaches contradict? So biblical counseling views scripture as the ultimate authority on truth and human behavior, emphasizing that spiritual struggles require divine healing. In contrast, secular psychologists or psychological counseling often focus on self-reliance, and may attribute struggles to biological or developmental factors, suggesting that individuals can resolve their issues independently. So, Christian counseling prioritizes faith and religious belief healing, which may not resonate with everyone, particularly those who do not believe in God. And conversely, secular counseling might neglect the spiritual aspects that are vital for some individuals' overall well-being. Thus, each approach has its strengths and limitations depending on the individual's beliefs and needs. The next one, the third question of my research is, can they be merged? So each has their unique strengths and weakness. Some argue that the Bible and psychology represent competing truth systems, making their integration challenging. However, well-trained Christian counselors can successfully combine their faith with psychological knowledge, adhering to biblical principles while utilizing psychological methods. So this integration may allow Christian counseling to offer a holistic approach to emotional and spiritual well-being, using faith as a crucial tool for helping clients navigate the challenges and promoting health and growth. So the key here is to maintain balance, ensuring that the counseling remains grounded in the client's needs and preferences while respecting the counselor's professional framework. In conclusion, both approaches have their foundations and can be beneficial depending on the individual's beliefs and needs. Well, despite their different perspectives, both can play valuable roles in promoting mental health and well-being for those seeking help. So by merging psychological and spiritual frameworks, counselors can offer a more comprehensive support system, promoting overall well-being and healing. That'll be all for my paper presentation. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have paper presenter number 5. 4 has some issues, so we'll present afterward. So may I call upon paper presenter number 5, Atili Matia. The topic is Innovation in Learner-Centered Curriculum, a Critical Perspective.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for giving me this platform. I'll go directly with the presentation. I would like to give the meaning of innovations first. Innovations refers to the process of implementing new ideas, practices, methods, or devices in the educational settings. With the advancement of and implementing NEP 2020, there was a shift from traditional teacher-centered models to learner-centered approaches, which has a profound transformation in our educational settings. The first point is learning. This is a theory. This part is a theory, little bit theory. So the first point is personalized learning. So personalized learning is very important in educational experience to individual students, needs, preference, and learning styles. This approach recognizes that students progress at different rates in different ways. And under personalized learning, there are 2 points, that is adaptive learning technologies. So learner-centered is all about the students should learn according to their own space without the guidance or directions of the teachers. So personalized learning is very important in the student's life to able to overcome by solving problems in any given situations. And the second point is learning analytics. By collecting and analyzing data on student performance, the student able to discover or identify their strengths and weaknesses, as well as even the students are able to make decisions in teaching methods according to the strengths and weaknesses of the students. The second point is competency-based education. So here, competence-based education, we are in 21st advanced centuries, and everything has become very competitive. So here, according to the teachers, the educators should focus on the students' knowledge and skills to connect the real world. So students can be, since it is a personalized learning, students should not be a spoon feeder from the educators. Students should solve problems and impart different kinds of skills in order to connect the next real world, in order to be a competitive students in the future. And under competency-based education, there are 2 points again. Modular learning. So in order to let the students become competitive, there are 2 points to be followed. That is modular learning. The teacher, the educators should divide the courses, subjects, or units into small units, so that the students can learn, understand the concept, understand the teaching learning process, and become more competitive. Example like CAT 1, CAT 2 exams, all those that are conducted in our university, that is very important for the students to understand his or her weaknesses and become more competent. And the second point is performance-based assessment. Instead of traditional exams conducting in the classroom and so on, instead of that, the educators should focus more to impart, to let the students gain knowledge by providing, writing an essay, conducting experiment, designing the PPT presentation, participating debate. All those is very important for the learner to be more competitive in future. And the third point, inquiry-based learning. According to the Socratic method, as well as APJ Abdul Kalam, the missile man, he has given so many examples to us that learning should be not on rote memorization, but should be focused on inquiry, asking questions, doubts, and clarifications. This helps develop the students to increase their learning and communication skills, as well as become more competitive in their career. Okay, I will go to the next point again. That is flipped classroom. Here in flipped classroom, see here, since it is all digital and learning advanced in everything in our university, the students feel bored through lecture with method. So the teacher or the educator should put more effort, like audiovisual aids, teaching aids like audiovisual, or like discussion practices, group activities. All these also help the educators, also help the students to be more skillful in different fields. Okay, I will conclude it. I can conclude that learner-centered curriculum is very important in a student's life as well as with the educators, because by prioritizing student needs, interest, and autonomy, these approaches foster more personalized, meaningful, and engaging learning experiences. So thus, with the experience that I'm giving a presentation today, I am with the opportunity that I got in giving this presentation, I learned a comprehensive knowledge, built new skills, as well as I built my confident level of standing in front of all of you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Now we have serial number 6. Is it PPT given? Yeah. Serial number 6, we have Van Tung Lo from Unity College. The topic is Servanthood Leadership, a Catalyst for Community Transformation.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you very much for this opportunity to stand here and present my paper. My paper is on servant leadership, a catalyst for community transformation. I'll quickly do an introduction. Servant leadership is an approach centered on prioritizing the needs of others and is investigated in this paper through its defining characteristics of empathy, selflessness, and empowerment. Through a review of existing literature, servant leadership is often regarded as one of the most effective leadership styles, particularly in terms of employee satisfaction and organizational culture. Studies have shown that it can lead to higher levels of trust, collaboration, and engagement within teams. It becomes evident that this leadership style fosters a strong sense of community, encourages social responsibility, and catalyzes collective growth. The primary role of leader is to serve others, contrasting traditional leadership models that prioritizes authority and control. Role of servant leadership in community development. Darren Dong, 2011, servant leadership prioritizes the well-being of others, focusing on service, empathy, and ethical behavior. The leadership style emphasizes collaboration and community building, enabling leaders to foster a culture where individuals feel valued and empowered to contribute their best. Purpose of the study on this paper. The purpose examines how servant leadership transforms communities, focuses on this paper is also focused on the case study done on Niketu Iralu. He is an 89-year-old peace builder from Nagaland. This paper also explores his role as peace builder and advocate for reconciliation. It explores his role as a peace builder and an advocate for reconciliation. It also highlights how servant leadership can inspire personal healing, social unity, and sustainable community development. Methodology. The present study employs a qualitative methodology combining on case study and interview with Iralu and it uncovers ways in which his leadership has fostered information within his community, transformation within his community, For 6 decades, Iralu has embodied the principles of servant leadership influencing community development and reconciliation through his peace-building efforts. His works, particularly in promoting harmony among diverse groups and advocating for ethical and spiritual growth, has profoundly impacted the Naga people and beyond. Nikitu Iralu is an influential figure known for his advocacy of peace and servant leadership, particularly in the context of his works in Nagaland, India. A brief profile of Nikitu Iralu. Yeah, so he is the one. Nikitu Iralu's early life. Let me just share a little bit about that. Nikitu Iralu was born in Nagaland, India, in a region marked by ethnic diversity and historical conflict. Growing up in a post-colonial environment, he witnessed the impact of political instability and violence on his community. The struggles for identity, autonomy, and peace shaped his world view and commitment to social justice. Iralu faced several challenges, including the pervasive tensions between various ethnic groups and the socio-economic hardships stemming from decades of conflict. These conditions often resulted in limited access to education, economic opportunities, and essential services. In response to these challenges, Iralu dedicated himself to promoting peace and community development. He engaged with the local leaders and communities to foster dialogue and understanding, emphasizing the importance of servant leadership. I just want to share quickly the outcomes, the tangible changes that he has brought to our community. Improved education, health initiatives, economic development, conflict resolution, empowerment of youth and women. There are a lot of personal stories also and testimonials which I will not have time to share anyhow. In conclusion, I would like to conclude the case study of Nikitu Iralu reveals the ways in which his leadership has fostered transformation within his community. His role as a peace leader and advocate for reconciliation can inspire personal healing, social unity, and sustainable community development. The key insights of the study will continue to strengthen organizational citizenship behavior by celebrating the commitment to serve the community of human beings, commitment to steward young leaders, commitment to peace building, and commitment to trust building. He would always say, in fact, he also told me this, that listen to the still small voice inside you, be honest with yourself, and do the right thing you know from your heart, even if you are alone. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I just want to remind again, our Q&A will be like towards the end of the presentation, Q&A. So please, those who have presented, please wait for the Q&A session. We now have presenter number 8. Number 7, it's online, so may I call upon presenter number 8, Yan Penny W. Lota. 2 we have. Okay, Department of Psychology and Counseling, the Horse Institute. Her topic is the effect of anaerobic exercise on mood in healthy individuals, a pre-experimental study.
Good afternoon, everyone. Okay, so my title is on the effect of anaerobic exercise on mood in healthy individuals, a pre-experimental study. So let's look into the introduction or the background of the study. So regular physical exercise is widely, been recognized for its benefit in enhancing both cognitive and emotional well-being. And also, studies consistently demonstrated that this regular physical exercise, it improves mood, sleep, self-esteem, and cognitive function. And also, prevailing studies shows that exercise improves mood through the release of these, through the mechanism such as releasing of these endorphins and serotonin, which definitely enhances emotional well-being. Again, while most researchers have definitely done on both aerobic and anaerobic exercises and its effect on mental health, but can you go to the next? Next. Again, they have missed out this particular area. That is, they have missed out this particular population that is on healthy populations. So after doing extensive literature review, it was found out that many studies, including some of the literature reviews that I have already included there, but let's not go back. I'll just straight go to the research gap. So it was found that most of the studies, they have missed out the healthy populations. They have just focused on the clinical populations, such as having, people having with this anxiety or depression. And also, existing research also plans aerobic and anaerobic exercise, making it difficult to isolate the psychological effects of anaerobic exercise alone. Also, the impact of anaerobic exercise on specific mood disturbance such as tension, anger, depression, fatigue, and vigor remains underexplored. Next. So, given the gap, the study seeks to isolate and examine the effects of anaerobic exercise on mood in healthy individuals, contributing to a better understanding of how short duration, high intensity exercise affects emotional well-being. So this is the objective of the study, to assess changes in TMT, that is a total mood disturbance in healthy individuals before and after anaerobic exercise. So this is a research question. Is there a significant difference in total mood disturbance before and after anaerobic exercise in healthy individuals? There will be a significant difference in the total mood disturbance before and after anaerobic exercise. So I have taken 20 participants from 4 commercial gyms in Timabur, and regarding the sampling method, I have used this purposive sampling that comes under non-probability sampling. So these are the procedure and some of the inclusion criteria, as well as the exclusion criteria. Next. Next. Okay, so my research design is one group pre-test and post-test, a pre-experimental design. So coming to the variables, independent variable, anaerobic exercise, that is an independent variable, and coming to the dependent variable, mood would be the dependent variable. Next. Next. Result. Okay, so coming to the result and discussion, as you can see clearly, the TMT, that is total mood disturbance mean before workout, found to be 94.35, which seems to be very high. And in the standard deviation before workout, it was found to be 20.07, which there is this quite variability, variability in the total mood disturbance. And coming to the after workout, as you can see, the mean of TMT after workout decreased to 83.95, and standard deviation decreased to 11.86. So it shows that there's a significant, impact, a positive impact or influence after the workout, after giving the the intervention, that is the anaerobic exercise. And the p-value find out to be at the 0.02, which is at alpha level at 0.05. So it signifies that there's a significant differences in the DMT scores before and after workout. So all these results indicates that there's this anaerobic exercise significantly influence these TMT scores overall, total mood disturbance after after the workout. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Yanpeni. We now have number 9, PK Aumi. Do we have? Yes. Okay, from Nagaland. Yeah, Nagaland University Department of Education. And her topic is parenting style, changes and challenges in Nagaland.
Hello everyone, thank you for this time. So I will be presenting on the topic parenting style, changes and challenges in Nagaland. So the objective of this paper is to understand the concept of parenting style by emphasizing on the theory of parenting style by Diana Berman. Second one is to compare the traditional and modern parenting style among Naga parents. And also the third one is to reflect on the challenges to positive parenting. Moving on, in the introduction session, we have the word parenting. In a very general meaning, the word parents is derived from the Latin word parens, which means caretaker of the offspring of their own species. So in human, parents are the father, mother figure of a child. So in a study conducted in 2022, it was found that the responsibility or the role of parenting is not just merely sending their children to the school, but it extends beyond that. It was found that the role of parent is crucial, especially in the first early 5-year stages. It greatly influences their behavior and overall development, which is for this very reason, experts in India and also in abroad have attached greater significance or importance to the influence of parenting style on their children's development. Now, parenting style. What is parenting style? In a very simple word, parenting style is how of parenting. It is an art of demonstrating parenting responsibility and to meet the needs of the child. Meet the need of the child. Now, moving on. Parenting style, there are 4 types of parenting style, that is authoritarian, permissive, authoritative, and uninvolved parenting style. And this 4 type of parenting style was given by Diana Berman. She was a psychologist. She is popularly known for her work in parenting style. So the authoritarian, let me just highlight the meaning of it. Authoritarian parents are those type of parents who are strict and they have a high standard of obedience and submission from their children. The second one is permissive. The permissive style of parenting are those type of parents which act more like a friend than a parent to their children. Authoritative parenting is consistently, and it is proven to be one of the best parenting style in a sense that it is not, it is rigid, but it has some. It also gives certain kind of limitation and independence for discussion, so which is why it is also considered as one of the best parenting style. And the last one we have is the uninvolved parenting. So uninvolved parenting are those kind of parents who are mostly stressed out or broken families. This kind of parents expect their children to raise themselves. So these are the 4 kinds of parents given by Diana Berman. Now, moving on to the changes. So, the changes in parenting style, I have brought it into traditional and modern parenting perspective. There are several other factors, but I will be highlighting only on the 4th aspect. So the first one is in the traditional, cultural ethics and moral values were given much importance, whereas in modern parenting, we see that parents are trying to have a balance between traditional and modern values. Secondly, we see that more traditional parenting was more authoritative, whereas modern parenting style, we see different kinds of parenting style, and there is various factors behind this reason as well. And the third one is traditional parenting was mostly focused on life teaching. Even as we look back, when we see a parent and a parent and a child sitting together, it will be mostly, the conversation will be mostly about life lessons more than any other thing. Whereas in modern parenting, we see that it's very less, the interaction between the parent and the child has cut down, and we see very less interaction. Now, the fourth one is family lineage. So everything, the four aspect, cultural, authoritative, and everything is all about family lineage. Traditional parenting was the main central idea was to pass on the values from one generation to another generation, which is why family lineage was considered very important. Whereas in modern parenting today, we see that it has cut down. It is no longer about passing down from generation to generation, but all the moral concept or ethics is confined to the family as well. So these are the four types of differences that we can see from traditional and modern point of view. So moving on, we have challenges. Next please. Challenges to effective parenting. So there are various several factors that affects the effective parenting, whereas I have brought up only some of the points. So the first one is pressure. Now pressure, there is a pressure, emotional stress pressure that parents try to place it on their children. That is one factor. And then the second one is the time factor. Time factor is because inability to have a quality time with their parent and child relationship is one more. Work and life balance. We have social media, impact of social media cause negligence. We also have lack of moral values, and then we have the lack of emotional bondage. Lastly, we have some suggestion for positive parenting. Now, suggestion for positive parenting is to reflect. Reflect what kind of person you are. Reflect on your personality. How are you? Rate yourself as a parent. That is one thing. Make time. Make time for your child. Spend time. Play with your child. That is one thing. Communicate. Communicate means communicate your feelings, and at the same time listen what your child is communicating. That is one. We have the role modeling. Role modeling, we all know that as a child, especially at the earlier stage, parents are their role model. So intentionally behave in such a way so that your child adopt those qualities in you. So role modeling is one thing. Educate. Now educate in a sense, learn about. It is very, very much prevalent in Nagaland. Parents are not aware about the psychology behind child psychology, also developmental stages. So, and the next one is freedom. Give freedom so that the child can have critical thinking, can develop creativity as well. So these are the suggestions. I would like to conclude with saying that it's not an easy, parenting is not an easy job. It is in fact the longest and the most challenging, especially in 21st century, but it can be the most rewarding one if done correctly. So thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much. Straight away, we'll go to presenter number 10, Imna Sangla, Nagaland University, Department of Education, and her topic is Conceptual Analysis of Mental Health Among College Students in Nagaland.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Imna Sangla, a research scholar from Nagaland University, and my topic is on the conceptual analysis of mental health among college students in Nagaland. As we all know that mental health is a very, very important aspect of our lives, this is something that cannot be ignored. Now, when we talk about mental health, earlier, mental health was problem-focused. It was focused on diagnosing and giving treatment and services, providing services to people who are mentally ill. But now, it has shifted to a more positive and holistic view towards mental health. It is now more focused on shaping and building of positive habits and thoughts in individual. Okay, the objective of my paper is to conceptualize the various issues of mental health by emphasizing the positive mental health model. It was proposed by Dr. William Morrison and Dr. Girby, and to use this model to suggest or to suggest for improvement of mental health of college students. Now, talking about the present scenario of mental health, studies have revealed that in India, approximately 160 young people die by suicide daily. And Asumi, in her paper in 2022, she has numerous cases of mental health problems such as psychosis, bipolar disorder, drug misuse, depression, and stress. All this was reported even in our state, Nagaland. Now, these are some of the most common mental health problems faced by the college students, that is anxiety, stress, depression, substance use disorder, eating disorder, and suicide. Now, coming to the positive mental health model, for this paper, for the present paper, the positive mental health model, which was given by Dr. William Morrison and Dr. Patricia Kirby, this was used, and this model has 10 themes, which is as follows: social emotional learning, positive youth development, resiliency, protective factors, diversity, acceptance and understanding of student mental health needs, connectedness, strength-based perspectives, mental fitness, and self-efficacy. Now, this model talks about providing such an environment to the students to develop a positive mental health in them, instead of providing services to people who are mentally ill or who has mental health problems. They strive to help students to live a normal and healthy life, to provide a supportive environment, to let them feel accepted, to let them feel valued, feeling of belongingness, and to develop self-love and self-confidence in them. Now, these are some of the suggestions to improve or to boost the mental health of college students. To provide opportunities. One suggestion, the first one, is to provide opportunities for positive youth development, which can be done by organizing activities and intervention programs in schools and colleges. The second is to give opportunities to students to collaborate and cooperate and work in teams, to work as a team. Now, this will help them to accept diversities and to adopt a multilingual and multicultural classroom environment. Now, the third one is to provide a holistic and multidisciplinary learning experience. It will help students to embrace and respect all other disciplines. The fourth one is to introduce the mentor-mentee practice. It is practiced in most of the colleges, so this will help them to open up and share about their problems and issues with their teachers, with professionals, and even with their friends. So that is some of the suggestions. To conclude, I would like to say that in our present generation, mental illness, we have normalized mental illness so much that we do not regard their sadness or problem. We feel apathetic towards people who are mentally ill. So by observing the present psychological condition, by observing the current scenario, it is very important that we raise awareness on mental health and its importance. Now, that will help us not only to know about our mental health conditions, but it will also motivate the students to seek help and assistance when needed. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. we move on to number 11, presenter number 11, Kati Kala. I don't know whether I'm sorry for that wrong pronunciation. And Department of Education, Nagaland University. And the topic is transformative teaching learning, embracing the paradigm shift in education.
Very good afternoon to each and every one of you. Very quickly, I would just like to give a very short presentation on transformative teaching learning, impressing the paradigm shift in education. I think with so many changes in recent times, we have seen the field of education has undergone a sea of change, especially in the field of teaching learning. So now learning is considered as a dynamic process, and as teachers, we have to tailor our teaching methods in such a way that we can maximize learning. So we have to foster an inclusive educational practice which can result in just academia. We have to create, we need to have that positivity of mindset, we need to be adaptable enough, and we have to be responsive and recognize the uniqueness of each student. Now here we have to remember the fact that no two students are alike, and we come across students with different learning styles. So we have to appreciate their uniqueness, be responsive enough, and in that way we need to be a mentor, a guide, and a facilitator in helping our students navigate the complexities of life. So we see a shift in the goals and the concepts and practices in education. So with the shift in educational practices and goals and concepts, as teachers, we are also expected to change the roles that we play. So teaching has become very demanding and a very complex profession these days. So there is a parallel change in the role of teachers in the modern context. So we have to be prepared to provide relevant learning experiences. We have to positively respond in tandem with the changing times. So for this, responding positively, we need a pedagogical shift. We cannot just simply rely on direct instruction where we are so comfortable in our own comfort zone, and we are not willing to exercise our mind and imagination and creativity. So we need a drastic pedagogical shift, and we have to be on our toes as teachers if we want to bring and maximize learning. So we need to acquire the required competencies. So this paradigm shift, if we apply this in the field of education, it has to do with fundamental change in the way we see and approach the educational practices. So transformational teaching, on the other hand, this was given by Slavich, this concept, and he believed that as instructors, as teachers, we can promote a meaningful change in our students. And on the other hand, transformative learning was popularized by the works of Jacques Mezirow in the 1970s. So transformative learning has to do with creating a critical consciousness on our students, letting them reflect, think creatively, let them appreciate multiple perspectives, help them in seeing something from different perspectives. Then here in transformational teaching learning, the learner is at the heart of the learning process, and there's a very close reciprocal relationship between the teacher and the student. So there's collaborative learning, and what matters most in transformational learning, teaching learning, is that it is not the outcome, but the process of learning, which is very important. So what kind of enriched learning experiences you are giving to your learners matters most in the transformative teaching learning. So there are three concepts here, very important three concepts: open dialogue, critical consciousness, autonomy. So that means open dialogue means do not belittle your students, don't dismiss them, don't always tell them that they are wrong. Let them express their views. Right? Let us not be so pessimistic about their opinions and responses. Give them the opportunity to express their opinion. No two students are alike, and they will have varying opinions. But as a teacher, we have to accept their uniqueness. Autonomy in among the learners means you let them feel a sense of ownership for the learning. let them be responsible, and let them make informed choices. So taking action based on new perspective deals with autonomy. It's not about giving complete independence to your learners, but being responsible enough and making the right choices. Critical consciousness means giving them the opportunity to examine, question, revise the knowledge that they have learned, and be aware of their role in the society. So these are the three concepts. How to put this transformative teaching learning into practice? These are some of the strategies which we can implement in the teaching learning process, but I would like to focus more on the last one, which is the PROSPER framework given by Noble and McGrath in 2015, Australian educators. Include positivity, stress on good relationship, emphasize on concrete outcomes, help them to be strong in facing the challenges in life, help them establish a purpose in life, give them engaging experiences, and help them develop the resilience and being able to withstand everything. So this is the PROSPER framework. If we apply all these components, then we can bring about a certain, certainly we can bring about a transformative change in the teaching learning process. That's all. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. We move on to the next presenter, number 12, Chi King. I think there will be a PPT for you. Department of Social Work. Yeah, it's there. Yeah. Department of Social Work, the Horse Institute. And the title of his presentation is Cultural Perspectives and Cross-Cultural Impacts of the Use of Alcohol by University Students. After his presentation, I'll give time to serial number 4, M. Chale, and after which we have Layarin Muinao. Yeah, we have 2 more presentations.
So good evening, everyone. This is my topic, cultural perspective and cross-cultural impact of the use of alcohol by university students. Alcohol is a sedative, anesthetic drug that is common to most culture. The use of alcohol is almost equalized to the human civilization. Almost all culture use alcohol both for socialization as well as even for spiritual activities. For some culture, they behold alcohol as contained the Spirit of God. Therefore, the more alcohol you take, the more you become godly. Early civilization, okay? Therefore, when it comes to alcohol, now students coming from different perspective, different culture. Now, when they come together in the institute, there is lots of cross-cultural impact. So they learn many good things, but apart from learning, valuable big things in life, both for academic and co-curricular activities, there can also be instances of cross-cultural impact of something which are not conducive for the growth. And one of them is alcohol. Therefore, the study is going to deeply on the impact of alcohol and how they carry the cultural perspective and come to university. Because in some culture, alcohol is, something that is okay for them, but in some culture that is not okay. Therefore, when they come together and interact, how does their perception play a role in the use or not using alcohol in the university? Therefore, let us go straight to the findings, okay? Yeah. So in findings, correlation, chi-squares, crosstab are used. Therefore, in the findings, see the family perception and the use of alcohol. In most cases, if the family perception is very good enough, okay, or a person coming from a family background where they say the use of alcohol is not okay for you, it is against, our belief, then the student who is coming to the university is likely not to take. But here, the family perception is playing a very big role in the life of that student, in the intake or not taking alcohol. Therefore, this is highly visible in the highly significant, because the family is going to play a big role on the life of that student, because student being away from the family, but he will be still carrying the perspective of the family in the university. Therefore, the family perspective has a very high significance in the life of the student. Crosstab between religion and culture. The lowest number I've taken is 11 and the highest number is 50. Therefore, more than 51 respondents out of 70 have crossed 30 and above. That means, irrespective of any religion, the use of alcohol is very high. And this is indicated by the p-value of 0.009, which is very high. Therefore, religion, of course, has lots to do with our life. But of late, there are so many religious leaders who are trying to inculcate the non-use of alcohol on its believers. But the perspective still remains the same. Christians, Muslims, Hindus or Jains, whatever religion we follow, the impact is still high. Therefore, the study conducted on 70 people of different Northeast states, 10 each from all the states except Sikkim, has shown that whatever religion you belong to, but the impact on alcohol is still quite high. Okay. The crosstab between the state and the cultural perspective. The state, we can differentiate the wet state and the dry state. Dry state, Nagaland is not a dry state. It is considered partially dry state. Manipur is a partially dry state. Mizoram is a fully dry state. Therefore, comparing all these states, the impact of perspective on the use of alcohol is quite less in Mizoram. Why Mizoram? Because Mizoram, the law is so strict. In the year 1997, the time they implemented, non-alcoholic state, from the reverends till the police in uniform, they've implemented this very strictly. Therefore, their perception on the use of alcohol is less as dry state. Whereas in Assam, Meghalaya, Tripura, the wet state, the use of alcohol is very high. And this has impacted the use of alcohol by university students. Assam is considered to be the highest, consumption of alcohol. The latest Durga Puja, 34 crores spent on those 2 days only for the use of alcohol, which has very big revenue for the state, but may lead, to early death. Okay, yeah. And the cross relationship between wet state, as we said, that is combined together already. Okay. The cross-tab, dry state, and the cultural perspective, as I said, this we have seen very clearly in the state of Mizoram. Okay. The cross-tabulation, partially dry state and partially wet state. Despite all this effort taken by many people, the impact is still very high because the p-value comes to 0.000. That means either you belong to dry state or wet state, okay, or partially dry or partially wet. The perspective which is influencing your behavior to drink alcohol is very high. Therefore, the hypothesis is, just a moment. In the first hypothesis, the alternative hypothesis is proven. Even in the second, the alternative hypothesis is proven. That means the intake of alcohol is quite high in the university. However, the study is not promoting the use of alcohol by students. This is only to foresee and take some proper measurement that every student coming to a university, any university for that matter, go back as a full-fledged students who can contribute for the betterment of our society. Thank you. God bless.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Do we have presenter number 4? Yeah, Department of English, M. Charlie, and her topic is preservation of cultural heritage through language documentation with special reference to, I don't know how to pronounce this, Kikwema dialect spoken in Kikwema village. I'm sorry about that.
Good afternoon. The title of my paper is Preservation of Cultural Heritage Through Language Documentation with special reference to Kiwema dialect in Kiwema village. The keywords are Kiwema dialect, cultural heritage, documentation, preservation, and documentation. Revitalization. The objectives are to study the status of Kiwema dialect in Kiwema village, to study the attitude of the speakers towards the Kiwema dialect, to bring about measures to maintain and preserve the Kiwema dialect of Kiwema village, to contribute to the cultural heritage of Kiwema people by preserving and documenting the language. An introduction. Kiwema village is located in the southern part of Jakama Circle, 15 kilometers in the southern region of Kohima, the capital of Nagaland. Kiwema village is known for its rich history, culture, relics, and heritage. According to the population census 2011, Kiwema dialect is spoken by approximately 3,872 people. As per the UNESCO Atlas of the World's Languages in Danger, languages are divided into 6 categories of language endangerment status, where Kiwema dialect is categorized to be vulnerable as speakers restrict the use of the language in selective domains. The research methodologies used are qualitative approach and inductive approach, where semi-structured interview and data analysis have been employed. The status of Kiwema dialect. This dialect is spoken by every individual of Kiwema village, including children, to communicate with each other. However, speakers have come to such a point that they restrict the use of this language in selective domains. Kiwema people are multilingual speakers, and then the dialect spoken by the inhabitants of the village is a variety of Tenidie, which belongs to the Tibeto-Burman language, a family spoken in the southern region, which belongs to the Tibeto-Burman language. Matisov, in his handbook of Proto-Tibeto-Burman, this is a figure given by Matisov. We can move on. The variables and the domains. The variables that are taken into account for this study are from the age group of 18 to 31, 32 to 45, 46 to 60. And the questions that I have asked are, these are the domains that have been taken into study within home or family, market, religious setting, educational setting, and social setting. The questions that were asked were
How often do you use your dialect at home for communication? How often do you think you get platforms to use the dialect? Do you think that we should document our dialect for the preservation and revitalization? How much do you think that your dialect represents your identity and community? No, before that. Yeah, you can just skip that one. Yeah. Before that. Thank you. So, through the study, the market and the home or family and the market, these settings, they agreed that almost all of the family, all of them, they responded with a yes, that they use Kiguma dialect. And even in the market, majority of the respondents agreed that they use this dialect. However, Nagamis also comes in use in the market. But in the religious setting, the Kiguma dialect is used mainly. Educational setting, English is used as English is the medium that is used in schools. And in social settings, it was dependent on the type of situation. So it was a 50-50 thing. Kiguma dialect preservation. Kiguma dialect is necessary to be revitalized and maintained as it has reached its vulnerable stage. Some of the important steps that can be followed are: the dialect can be preserved by understanding the issue of keeping one's native language intact. With other languages coming into use, one's native language is likely to become vulnerable and endangered. Therefore, it is important to preserve our own native language and keep it safe for the future generations to come. This can be done by making sure that the dialect is in use by speaking it more often than other languages that have come into use. Understanding the status of the variety and attitude of the speakers is also important, as it is a crucial part of the overall process. Preservation of oral traditions, folktales, and cultural heritage can also be one of the factors that can be considered to help preserve the dialect. Kiguma village is known for being rich in its history and cultural relics from its early years. Collecting recordables from the early years can be a key source in preserving the heritage and culture in the future. Documentation of the dialect. This can be made by examining and reviewing the historical context and evidence towards the language, which can be considered an important factor for preserving Kiguma dialect. In conclusion, Kiguma dialect is considered to be in its vulnerable stage. Speakers are declining with the increase of other languages, namely Nagamese, leading to language shift as such in the long run. Therefore, this dialect needs to be maintained and documented for the future generations to come. Thank you.
Thank you. We now have the last presenter. Presenter number 15. Do we have number 15? Layarin Muinao. The Horse Institute, and her topic is Innovative Instructional Approaches for Special Education, Identifying Gaps in Curriculum Design in Nagaland.
Shall I start? So, my topic is Innovative Instructional Approaches for Special Education, Identifying Gaps in Curriculum Design in Nagaland. Very briefly, special education is a type of instruction that is tailored to meet the unique needs of special needs child, okay? And some of the disabilities that will be of the primary focus, some of the disabilities that will be of primary focus of attention in my study are, as it's given, intellectual disabilities, communication disorders, specific learning disabilities, ASD, and ADHD. Coming to the context of Nagaland, there's insufficient availability of specialized schools that meets the needs for children with special needs. Coming to this one, CIHSR referral, There's only assessment, diagnosis, and rehabilitation. Their therapies are limited to speech and language therapies. Also, this awareness camp that is held in Nagaland from time to time, Samagras Shiksha. This only encourages children with special needs and their parents to look forward and go for special education schools. But as I have collected the data through secondary data collection method, reading articles and journals, I found that there was not enough special schools in Nagaland. Moving straight forward to aims and objectives of this study, identified a number of schools for children with special needs in Nagaland, identify critical gaps in the existing special education curriculum in Nagaland, how it addresses the diverse cognitive, emotional, and behavioral needs of students with disabilities, and lastly, to identify the limitations in school systems, like those special educators and teacher training programs. Also, the presentation that I've prepared today is mainly focused on the initial objective of my research. So I will be focusing mostly on the review of literature. So here, okay, these are the number of children with disabilities which have been enrolled, and these are the different disability categories. But we don't have time for that. So yeah, here, Im Lee Nung La Au has addressed the expansion of inclusive education in Nagaland, that it faces several challenges, including negative attitudes from educators, a non-inclusive curriculum, insufficient resources, poor infrastructure, and parental unawareness. Secondly, in the Eastern Mirrors that was published last year, 26th of May, the State Commissioner of Persons with Disabilities, Detono Nakro, stressed the need for civil societies. She highlighted the marginalization of children, stating, data is very important, but the state doesn't have statistics related to persons with disabilities, and still following the 2011 census figure, which is an underestimated one. Thirdly, Morang Express published on 26th of October 2021, the Nagaland Board of School Education reaffirmed its commitment to inclusive education for all children, including those with special needs, and as outlined in the National Education Policy 2020. The board emphasized that equity and inclusion are essential principles, urging schools to create supportive environments with adequate infrastructure and resources to meet diverse learning needs. And this is about the assistive technologies and tools that's being used in metropolitan cities, which is not there in Nagaland. So here, Bhattacharjee, Agarwal, and Verma, and Sarao addresses the importance of assistive technology, specialized teachers, and barrier-free learning environments to support students with special needs in India. So, in short, these tools, among others, are making education more accessible by allowing children with disabilities to actively participate and express themselves in ways that fit their unique needs and learning styles. And in conclusion, insufficient number of schools have been identified. The current infrastructure for children with special needs in Nagaland is inadequate to meet the demand for special education. Curriculum gaps. The existing curriculum fails to sufficiently address the diverse cognitive, emotional, and behavioral needs. Resource constraints. There is a shortage of technological tools, specialized instructional materials, and support systems for students with disabilities, limiting the overall effectiveness of special education. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have a few questions? Maybe one, two, among the participants and the audience? Do we have? You don't have. We don't have. Okay, but then I'm going to ask one, maybe two. If not, the organizer will, will sue me. Yeah. I have like presenter number one. You talk about the street venting, tribal women, the obstacle challenges that we have, opportunities that we have. can you give a few, maybe 1-2 recommendation in order to take care of those obstacles that we have in like the topic which we have discussed? Your recommendation.
So I did not get time to talk about the social work intervention since I'm from social work. Although I'm doing from the Department of Applied Research from Gandhigram, I'm from social work background. So I have social work interventions that we can apply for the upliftment and for the betterment of street vendors in our state. So I have listed 3 recommendations. That is, first is convergence with the stakeholders is very important, because there are so many policies and programs and organizations like the resource persons have mentioned about the Entrepreneurs Associate. They are doing a lot of good works with street vendors for the upliftment of street vendors. But when we go down to the field, people are not aware about this. There are so many schemes and policies for the betterment of street vendors, but the street vendors are not aware about this. And it's so sad to say that when I was in Mukokchung and interacting with the administrator, he was not aware about the Street Vendors Act, at the policy level. So convergence is very important, and along with that, the proper awareness, giving awareness about these programs and policies to benefit the people. The policies are prepared for the people, to benefit the people. So this, and just not one-time awareness or something. Follow-up, constant follow-up, and proper awareness is very important so that the people can benefit, and then whatever challenges that they're facing from the end, they're trying to be very resilient and overcome and contribute to the informal economy and support a family. So through all this community development, community participation and all that, we can try to enhance their livelihood for betterment.
Thank you very much. Sir, do you have any question? You want? I'll give him one question.
Okay, my question is to presenter serial number 12. Okay, how does alcohol use affect relationships between students from diverse cultural backgrounds?
See, the use of alcohol can negatively impact relationship and interaction from different culture coming in the same university. See, culture perspective has played in such a way that if my culture accept alcohol, it is can be easily prone to the use of alcohol. If my culture doesn't, promote the use of alcohol, I'm likely not to take alcohol. Therefore, when I come to the university, my interaction, my relationship with people is going to be highly influenced by my cultural perception or perspective of the use of alcohol, which I may or may not be. Therefore, your relationship, your interaction, both your physical and your academic performance, I believe strongly that this will highly depend on your cultural perception of alcohol, and you becoming an alcoholic or you becoming not an addict to it. Therefore, this is, alcohol has got lots of physical and psychological impact on every one of us. Therefore, the way you interact, the way you talk to people, the way you go about, I think can be highly impacted by the use of alcohol. Thank you.
Thank you. We do have some more questions, but I think we'll stop with that. Yeah. To conclude, I would admit that we do have a very good collection of topics, which will definitely contribute to the knowledge system, definitely. And I'm going to reiterate this again. I'm very sorry for giving you limited time. Each time I heard the bell, I said, sorry miss, sorry sir, in my heart. Thank you for your patience and for your cooperation. And we will have a refreshment, light, heavy, I don't know, but let's have refreshment at the back. Yeah, please. Thank you, everyone.